Have you ever had big dreams and overflowing ambitions, but strangely not taking action? You picture a wonderful future in your head, but in reality, you end up falling into procrastination and repeating "here I go again"? Even if you decide that you're really going to do it this year, a few days later you find yourself becoming familiar with laziness again. Then, you alternately experience two feelings of guilt, wondering "why am I doing this?" and resignation, wondering "oh, everyone lives like this anyway." In the end, when the new year comes around, we only exchange similar goals and similar resolutions for a while. When my burning motivation cools down, I go back to square one and blame myself for being a lazy person. Now, the question arises, why on earth can't this procrastination habit be solved with simple methods? In fact, if you look at videos on the internet or on YouTube, there are many superficial tips such as deleting social media and cutting off distracting thoughts. Of course, it may have a temporary effect, but it only addresses the symptoms that are revealed on the surface. The real key is to understand the deeper reason hidden inside us. Behind procrastination often lies psychological factors like anxiety, perfectionism, and the fear of failure. The pressure to be perfect prevents us from even starting, or the fear of failing makes us avoid it altogether. Simply eliminating external distractions isn't enough to solve these internal conflicts. It's like trying to stop a flood by plugging a small hole in a dam. In our minds, thoughts like "I'll do it later," "this is too hard," and "what if I fail?" constantly hold us back. Ultimately, to overcome procrastination, we must first understand the real reasons behind it, deep within ourselves, beyond the surface-level behaviors. And the core principle that explains this is the law of inertia from physics. You might have heard of Newton's law of motion. An object at rest tries to stay still, and an object in motion tries to keep moving. That state will continue unless an external force is applied. This simple physics law surprisingly applies to our behavior patterns as well. Starting something is like moving from a state of rest to a state of motion. But the initial force required at this time, in other words, the initial driving force feels greater than expected. So if that force is burdensome, we say, "Oh, I don't know, let's do it tomorrow," and we turn to temptations like entertainment and social media. In the end, the reason many people procrastinate is because the first step to breaking inertia seems daunting. And the more abstract the goal, the greater that perceived burden becomes. So then, how can we make this overwhelming initial force smaller and start by reducing the burden? The answer lies in two strategies. First, minimize the burden. The most difficult thing in the world is starting. If you think you have to write a 5,000-word essay today, the pressure is immense. But what if you just try writing one sentence? Similarly, thinking "I have to clean the whole room" feels frustrating, but deciding to just tidy up one item on your desk for 2 minutes is much easier to initiate. These micro habits, consistently performing very small actions, can lead to significant long-term changes. Even if the goal isn't grand, building momentum through small successes is key. The second strategy is the 2-minute rule. No matter how much you don't want to do it, commit to doing it for just 2 minutes. Once you start moving, you'll often find that you naturally want to continue. This is the power of inertia. Once you move, the acceleration increases, and it becomes rather difficult to stop. Ultimately, the important thing is the initial start. Whether it's 2 minutes or just one small step, lower the threshold as much as possible. These two methods can be applied to any field: exercise, relationships, side projects. Instead of aiming for an hour at the gym, start with a 2-minute stretch. Instead of planning a grand reunion, send a quick message to a friend. Instead of a full business plan, jot down 3 ideas. The important thing is that if you break the inertia to stay still and start rolling with small movements, you can go much longer and further than you think. Celebrate those small victories and reward yourself. And remember, if you stumble, don't get discouraged. Just start again with an even smaller step. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. You don't need to do everything right now or have the confidence to do it all. But if you start with small steps, you'll find yourself climbing quite high before you know it. I hope today's video serves as a small opportunity to break your habit of procrastination. If it was helpful, please support me by subscribing and liking. I'll continue to share these stories with you, so don't forget to stop by again. Everyone, once you break that initial inertia, it'll be a breeze from then on. Try taking a small step today too. See you in the next video.